Hello, Let's Go Sew Stitching friends. I've got something to share with you today. Do you remember your first sewing project that you completed on a sewing machine? Well, I do. Mine was in junior high and it was an apron, exciting apron, and it was made from quite a little bit of a loud fabric, and it was finished with a lot of crooked top stitching. Well, I recently had the opportunity to teach my great niece, Lily Grace, how to operate a machine. So, newsflash, what you're seeing here is Lily Grace, budding designer, making her first machine sewn garment. And I had given her a lesson just a short time ago on how to drive the machine. We did straight lines, curves. She learned to use a seam gauge for seam allowance. She learned how to adjust her stitches for width and length, and even learned how to use overcasting stitches, and just did a really great job. So she caught on really quick. We decided the next project was going to be a garment. Why not? Why not jump right in and do something pretty and exciting? So I chose New Look pattern and purchased some double gauze fabric that I found at Hobby Lobby. And this pattern is really pretty unique. I knew it would be an easy fit, and took her measurements, and then showed her how I like to, kind of add a little bit of an insurance policy. So when we cut it out, we actually added a half inch to each side seam on, of course, the front and the back and the sleeves. And I explained how everything had to match. When you add seam allowance, it has to match whatever coordinating piece. And told her that the old tried and true that many of us who have sewn for a while know, that it's a whole lot easier to take away than it is to add when you don't have enough. So, yep, Aunt Jo had the distinct privilege of coaching her through the steps. First, I gave her an overview of the pattern layout info, and what I did is taught her my technique. That if I'm not really sure how it's going to fit, I might go ahead and follow the pattern layout as per shown. But most of the time, I will purchase whatever amount of fabric they told me on the envelope. Of course, if I'm doing something a little different, I'm gonna purchase some extra. But then when I go to cut it out, I use kind of what I call jigsaw puzzle technique, where I simply lay out those pieces as I see that they will fit best. So told her, both ways will work, and gave her just her own kind of idea of how she might want to do it in the future. And again, gave her some sizing tips. We were using a multi-size pattern, so I showed her how you have to transition between those lines and pay attention to what the line looks like that you're actually going to be using for your size. And gave her a little tip that I like to teach, and that is, if you're using multi-size patterns and you have a trouble following those lines, or you're transitioning from one size to another, go ahead and put something protective underneath the tissue and grab a highlighter and highlight those lines. It seems like it's a lot easier to follow when you're really concentrating on those lines. And then once those lines are highlighted, you can go ahead and cut out the pattern tissue. I like to iron my pattern tissue. I even showed her my little ideas for either rolling it up onto an old paper towel, empty paper towel roll, or clipping it to a skirt hanger, so that my pattern pieces are all ready to go when I'm ready to lay it out. When it came time to cut, I showed her how to cut with my prized 8-inch bent-handled Ginger shears, and did that because it's, those are that we all know you need to have good shears. I gave her a little pair of scissors to use for clipping the threads and doing a little simple trimming. But she learned how to do long strokes on long areas and shorter strokes on those shorter areas, and maneuver around curves, and did a great job. So part of the family came to support her and cheer her on. My actual niece, Jacqueline, and great niece, Sister Scarlett, and great nephew, Brother Max, celebrated the finished project when she was all done, and got to see her model the top. So it was great to get together with all of them, and they were very patient while we were stitching. They did go do some shopping in the area, so they weren't there the whole time. We met up for lunch and really made a great day out of it. There she is, all done. We finished. Just kind of in time to everybody to get home for the evening. Again, this pattern is really a nice style. I knew she would like it. I sent her a picture of the pattern and the fabric and let her decide if it was something that she liked or if we needed to go shopping together to pick something out, but she liked it, so we went ahead and went with it. What was unique about it is that this pattern tells you that you can use the full piece that's covered for the front, or you can use it for the back, and then the crossover, it's a wrap style pattern, that could be used for the back or for the front. You just insert the sleeves differently depending on which side you want to use. So I think you could probably wear it either way. The sleeves did have a little bit of shape to them, but I think it probably wouldn't be enough to matter. So it'd be fun to find out if she's worn it more than one way first. Of course, I should mention I did pre-shrink the fabric, washed it and dried it till it was almost dry in the dryer. I love double gauze, and whenever I can find it, I like to use it for projects like this. But here I am, proud Aunt Jo with Lily Grace. We set up for this time of sewing in the classroom of my local brother dealer, which is Alco Sewing Center. And it was nice to have a whole big spacious room to work in, have whatever tools we needed that she might need to add for creating this. It was nice to have access to that, and I was really happy to be able to use that classroom there. Total sewing time for the top was about 6 hours from start to finish. And don't forget, that meant that she was doing it. So my assistance really was very minor. She's obviously got a natural talent for sewing and did about 99% of it herself. I did a little pressing, the areas where we had to turn under the hem on that tie belt area, and a couple things around the sleeve and the bias trim on the neckline, but I just figured I was a little more adept and could do the pressing a little bit quicker than she could. But the finished item really was beautiful. I've got a double gauze top on there myself that some of you may have seen in some other videos. But she's heading to Kent State Fashion School soon to enter the fashion design program. And I can't wait to see your future designs, Lily Grace. I know you're going to do great. So thumbs up. Everybody give her a thumbs up and a cheer for her future sewing. We all know it's love at first stitch. So happy sewing to everyone, and thanks for watching.